Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Sandy, for that introduction. So I think Sandy's already told you what FreshChain does. How FreshChain does it, I'll just spend 10 seconds. We use a combination of smart labelling, of connected packaging, of IoT sensors, of RFID, and of machine learning and AI. That's all for the purposes of provenance, compliance, enhanced food safety, supply chain monitoring, and streamlining things like cross-border trade. So I just want to take you through two initiatives that we have undertaken and had some fantastic support with industry. Some of this will be known to you, and some of this is quite innovative. It's like painting a bit of a picture from a blank canvas, just to show what can be done. So initiative one was achieve punnet level traceability, streamline compliance and marketing objectives. The companies involved in this was Osberry Farms out of Victoria, and they have 12 farms. They are a co-op and they sell under a single brand. And so they were really keen to understand the quality metrics of every farm, and also have farm level traceability at a punnet or item level space. The insights flow really from here as the challenges being solved, the objectives, operational QC requirements, the success deliverables, the technology solution, key findings, industry impact and next steps. The main challenges, as I mentioned, was to achieve instant punnet level traceability back to farm, to achieve a deeper understanding of consumer sentiment, to achieve punnet level distribution and quality metrics, including varietals, and compare and contrast varietals in market, to better understand the impacts to quality and redress through supply chain monitoring, and to meet current and future regulatory requirements, both for export potentially, but also in 2027, I think it is, with retailers wanting the opportunity to scan a 2D barcode. Key operational questions that we wanted to ask is how easy would it be to set up? Now we understand that there are different picking and packing methodologies out in the field. So you can have in-field packing, you can have packing within the shed. You can use clamshells or heat sleeves. There's lots of different ways of doing this. So it's not a one-size-fits-all, but there are solutions for the entire industry. How much involvement would be needed by the growers? What we wanted to make sure was minimal, if no further involvement. So no additional touch points for the growers to achieve these outcomes. How accurate and reliable is the solution? That's really key in terms of efficacy. And as much as anything, how much will it cost? So we can go through each of those. Key quality controls. Did it enhance food safety? Did it provide insights into quality through the supply chain? Did it meet emerging 2D requirements? And will it integrate into existing systems? Yes, 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 and yes on those. And I'm happy to go through further findings if people wanted to chat post this event. Marketing objectives, they wanted to showcase their farms, their growing regions. They really hadn't done that as a brand. They know that they're working with a new consumer who is digitally literate, not illiterate, and so everyone has a smartphone, and so a lot of people, and I don't overplay this, it's much more prevalent in Asia, but it is becoming much more used even in this space to follow companies who might meet your own ethical ideals around sustainability, or there might be other things that you want to know about a company and you're prepared to follow and promote them. The technology solution itself is incredibly simple, at least it was in this initiative. So we did pre-printed labels. So we worked with their supplier. This one was out of China. And we issued them a simple CSV file. Now you've got to remember, these codes that I'm talking about, They're not a standard QR code, which is effectively a single URL. These are serialized, these are unique, and these are encrypted. They have to be serialized and unique if you're going to use them for traceability. So every one of those codes, if it's 10 million or 100 million, it's like they have their own unique ID. So that feedback comes back at a punnet level. It's as simple as this. For us, with this company, they had 12 sites, 12 pack houses, and we did a very simple deployment for an inline scanner. And this meant that the punnets didn't have to be kept in sequence. Any box could be sent to any farm and could be put through that conveyor belt. And the way our system works, it captures automatically the date, the pack or harvest date, time, and location. You could also include who the picker was, and you could also include upstream inputs. Because people kind of think recalls might only happen at a product or food level. But what happens if you use a particular fertilizer that got recalled? Now, if you actually include that in the code as an upstream input, and there's a bit of work that would need to be done, but a retailer would be able to, at the point of sale, identify, let's say, that pest treatment or that fertilizer and stop the sale of that product, which would mitigate any food or product issue that might come our way. And we've seen and heard enough of when it goes wrong, the damage it can do to reputation, to livelihoods. So this is what's on the table.
I just love watching them grow. And
just wanted to show you this because they were so proud, Osbury. They'd never done this before. They didn't even really know what their farms looked like at height. And so we worked with them to deliver this content.
My parents migrated from southern Italy back in the late 50s. Dad come from a farming background from back home. So that's what he knew, that's what he continued. Moved up to Wandon back in 1970. I moved away from the farm for a little bit. Now I'm back here doing what I enjoy most, growing strawberries. And there's our climate. The weathers can get very erratic. You know, if we get rain events, hail events, we can get pretty good summers. But you know, we've now ventured off into protected cropping. You're safe in here. We're classified as volcanic soils up here. The breed of plant that we predominantly been growing in Albion, they are a very sweet berry. You can be guaranteed that you'll get the size, the colour, the majority of the time. If the weather's on our side, we're forever picking a great berry. And especially when we're in protected cropping, it's always A1 berries. Without the customers, we'd have nothing. We'll try our best to keep producing a nice red, ripe, sweet strawberry so the customer keeps coming back, because without them, we're nothing.
We can tell on the platform how many times these get viewed, and I'm pretty sure that bloke there scanned it about 150 times. Just, I think he's got another future as a star. I'm going to show you what you see when a consumer scans that code, because a lot of people say, well, okay, that's great, but how do we get the feedback? How does that actually come about? And then how do we receive that in terms of the data that we get to see and some of those analytics? So I'll just talk this through. So that's me scanning the code with a smartphone. And this is one of the examples that might set up. So the first thing that your consumer would see would be a video of the farm. And then they might want to look at the harvest or trace data. And keep in mind, it's permission-based, so you guys only show the information you think would be valuable. I'm just trying to see, was that nutrition? These are digitised certificates, maybe for a customer. Sustainability certifications, it might be something you want to call out. It might be your recycling that you do, water use, the fact that you use a certain type of chemical or not chemical on the farm. Really importantly is how you store product, because food waste is a significant thing, particularly in fresh food. And so here's an opportunity for someone to actually purchase, rate, and provide feedback to you. And one of the things I say to growers is everybody loves the 5 stars, but the 5 stars not where the gold is. The gold's in 1 stars. If you start getting 1 stars off your farms, you can then link that back using our IoT sensors for tracking consignment and find out whether there's a pattern emerging in a particular area. And that might give you an opportunity to go and talk to your transport provider, or maybe identify that it's the retailer who's actually not putting that into proper storage quickly enough. So you got fun facts, you got recipes, and this is all just kind of interactive. This keeps people on the platform. The reason we don't send people off to your own website, number one, they can be quite long and exhaustive to make your way through a whole website. This one here is more about what do you think your consumers want to know. And one of the things I will say is if you do get a 1-star rating, this is not a Google review. That data, as opposed to someone posting that on Facebook and doing real damage to a brand, that stays with the brand owner. Then you have an opportunity to go back, thank them for their feedback. This is just showing where a mobile-first approach, the kind of data that you have live as it's coming through as product is being scanned. Sandy, how am I looking for time? 9 minutes left. Right, I'm going to keep going because I think the second initiative is one that you might all be interested in. I think everybody can see the benefits of that work around how it can support enhanced food safety, give you item level feedback that in other ways is very difficult to get. And if you think about it, if you had 2 million punnets and only got 1% engagement, that's 20,000 unique pieces of feedback. How easy is it to get 20,000 unique pieces of feedback on any business? Sorry, I'll keep going. So this one here was a really fascinating piece of work, and we set about to trial digitising an element of the cross-border inspection process to improve compliance without compromising on biosecurity or phytosanitary protocols. And this was ultimately to lead to a potential green pass for industry. That would be based on a risk assessment tool. So what we're after is allowing the quarantine teams to be spending more time doing thorough inspections of high-risk shipments and less time on low-risk shipments. The people involved in this, and I'm very grateful because when I told someone that we managed to get 2 states working together, they said I should get an award just for that. So it's clearly something that's not done easily or done often, but it needs to be done. And so the companies that were involved in this was, we had great support from Department of Primary Industries, and Dr. S.P. Singh, who's here today, was instrumental in helping bring this to pass. The WA Quarantine Division, HPS Transport, the importer WA Farm Direct, and then we were very grateful for the companies of Driscoll's, Costa, as the growers and brand owners to support this work, because they're really leading in some of the space, because at the end of the day, this is about industry, it's not about any particular company. I'll carry on. Now, what feedback drove this initiative? I'm sure if I asked people in this room, I'd get similar feedback. The feedback is rejections are frustrating. They're particularly frustrating when it's around what could be a very quickly remediated issue. So it's either incorrect paperwork, missing paperwork. Some of the stuff I've heard is it depends who you talk to on the phone. That's really not an acceptable way forward. Yes, there are some challenges that could be addressed at the pack house or in the movement of those goods, but there's also a remedial aspect that's going to have to be undertaken, and that's going to require potentially some legislative change. So what were the project objectives? Well, we wanted to identify the benefits to all supply chain actors for a more streamlined inspection approach. And I don't think I have to go through that. At the end of the day, there's a significant cost in time and money, and particularly in fresh food. if a shipment has to be delayed and retreated again for any reason, if you're shipping berries, every day lost could be about 10% of its shelf life or more, depending on how long it was harvested, packed and shipped. So this is something that industry and government needs to help us resolve. Based on those benefits, we wanted to assess what digital tools might be required and how would they be used. Then we wanted to look at that use and say where in the shipment process would they be deployed. And what we have identified is there's significant preventative opportunities at the pack house, or if people weren't aware, there's an opportunity at the border. Now the border is not where the inspection takes place, but it's where paperwork is checked, and there is an opportunity to do some remediation at that point. And then based on the required collaboration, assess what would be an operational challenge to do right now that could be deployed into pack houses as of tomorrow versus remedial digital tools that would require significant legislative change in terms of the inspection process. So this was the roles they played. Driscoll's was the brand owner, Costa was the grower, the packer, and they were certified to self-treat. HPS was the transport provider for WA. WA Farm Direct was the importer, and that ultimately ended up being where the inspection took place. New South Wales Department of Primary Industries were a major collaborator. WA Quarantine was the inspection people, authority who did that, and obviously FreshChain. So what were the additional tools developed? We added these to our existing FreshChain platform. So we did pre-shipment checklist using AI, automating SMS exchange with supply chain partners for real-time actions, post-shipment data exchange for the border and final inspection, and automating digital paper trail to all supply chain partners in any shipment for any supply chain partner. Won't go through the benefits. There's no one here who doesn't understand the benefits of a more streamlined national approach to the inspection process to reduce unnecessary rejections. That's not to say we want to do away with biosecurity protocols, but two things can be true at the same time. We need strong biosecurity protocols, and we need a more streamlined approach to make that happen and provide certainty for brand owners and growers that they're not having to wonder who they're going to talk to on the phone as to what is acceptable and what is not. So there was an opportunity at the border. At the border, the shipment that went through, it was raspberries from Corindi to WA Farm Direct. I didn't realise this, and I'm not sure everyone else knows this, but at the border, paperwork gets checked, and they can redirect or assess where that final shipment is going to take place based on that inspection. So at that point, there is an opportunity, if you know there's either missing paperwork or incorrect paperwork, to use a system or a solution like this to update paperwork in real time. And so at the point of inspection when it goes to take place, issues have been fixed, and all going well, shipments will be released. So this was just the new FreshChain dashboard. It's a little bit hard to see, but this is what was added. We do work both for export and cross-border trade within Australia. We link to MyCore for the export work we're doing. So just to let me take you through the process, we set up a printer in the Costa Packhouse in Corindi. We linked the data set, serialised labels on punnets to serialised labels on trays to serialised pallet SSCC labels, and then we linked those to a serialised label on a con note for shipment. 2 minutes, damn, I am in trouble. So this was the platform that we developed. This is the pre-shipment opportunity for pack houses that could be deployed now. And it uses AI to make sure that paperwork is either not missing or not incorrect with dates, times, locations. And that captures product type, pack type, destination, treatment applied, PHC attached or not, the barcode, the carton label, treatment con note, and things like global gap. And that actually might solve at least half the problems of why rejections are happening. Then it's the other part which we did with the quarantine division. It was a remedial tool for the regulators. So they scan that load, they go and check what certificates need to be there, and it could be HARPS or BSI. They then go to do the inspection. So we trialled actually making paperwork missing. So they were doing this alongside their existing biosecurity protocol. So they check it, they say there's an issue. They go down, they pick the reason for that issue. So this is actually captured for them for a record. They make a note, they can upload an image to say this is not right, it's going to be rejected. And as a result, that shipment is not passed by the inspection team. That automated SMS then goes out to every supply chain partner with a corrective action that they can do. And they can do it within a time window that says you've got 30 minutes to get this done, and we'll guarantee inspection will continue on the same day. So that goes back to the brand owner, it goes back to the packer, the treatment facility, whoever else needs to be involved. They then have an opportunity to look at that corrective action required. They upload the new paperwork thinking, we forgot the con note or we forgot the plant health certificate. Real-time data exchange, they upload that document, the inspection team goes back in. So there's the document that was missing. Inspection team goes back in, they've had it within the 30-minute window, right? So they're not having to wait around or come back. They go in, they check, they re-inspect, everything else is in order. They approve and the shipment is released. Now, I know I've only got a couple of minutes, and if anyone wants to know more about this, but the pleasing thing for us as much as anything, it shows what can be done with digital tools in the digital age. We're working at a time where real-time data exchange is becoming more and more prominent, and it needs to be part of this inspection process to help compliance for cross-border trade, because the impact to growers and our industry as a whole for shipments around quality, around cost, around time, puts us at a significant disadvantage. Now, we've had two states who have collaborated, WA and New South Wales. We've had growers who have participated, because I don't think there's anybody in this room who thinks this isn't a big deal. Everybody I've spoken to says, what can we do? How can you go about it? Now, I'm getting told that other states might not be as open to this work, but our sense is that the states might not want to be first, but I don't think they want to be last either. So we're going to reach out to our next state, which is going to be South Australia, and we would welcome any grower, packer. We're talking to Steritech here as one of the treatment providers. Everybody's quite keen to be involved in this piece of work, particularly if it can promote harmonisation and a new digital way to streamline this process. I won't go through this. Sandy, am I done? One more minute. I'll just go back. So the major lessons learnt, these are the things that we're going to have to get our head around. Data sharing. If you're not prepared to share your data, this ain't happening. Preemptive digital tools. Don't wait just for the remedial stuff, guys. If you can make change in your own pack houses with your own transport providers now, and that might rid yourselves of 50% of your issues, here's your opportunity. We're more than happy to work with you. It's a very simple tool, AI energized, and so there are opportunities that weren't here even a year ago. Smart packaging, serialization is key. Smart packaging using a particular data standard called Digital Link is key to this, and if you want to know more about it, I can let you know. Everybody now in pack houses on ourselves, we have smart devices. Credential data access. This is not allowing people to wander around your data. This is permission-based, based on data relevancy. If it's not relevant, you don't need to provide access to it. And finally, global data standards. You need to make sure the systems you're using can talk to other systems. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that was insightful. We're looking forward to phase 2 of this work and would welcome anyone who wanted to be involved. Thanks again.